I think we've all experienced the confusion and frustration of trying to get our lives in order and under control, but feeling like we're missing a piece somewhere. Am I right? I'm Misty Winkler, and you're watching Simply Convivial, where we tackle homemaking, homeschooling, and doing life cheerfully. Be sure to like this video and share it with a friend who also needs to hear it. We all need to hear this over and over again so that we can organize our attitude as the first step in organizing our lives. When I was a young wife and mother and homemaker, I set out to determine what were the essential pieces and parts of planning and organizing so that I could handle all the responsibilities that were coming my way. I wanted to figure it out. I wanted to be sure that it was not my plan that was the problem. I was a little bit afraid that it really was myself that was the problem. Eventually, it became time for me to stop new planning routines, new methods, and just stick with what I knew would work if I did it. After all, the real progress in life comes not from creating a new setup, but from implementing the plan, not making it. But in all my experimentation and research, I did figure out 3 characteristics of a plan that does work if you do it. So that's what I'm going to share today. Those 3 pieces of a plan that will make it work. Let's dig in. So any plan that is going to work for you and help you be more effective and focused and productive instead of frustrated is going to have 3 characteristics. The first is that a plan that works is complete. One of the biggest obstacles that we have with planning is actually trust. When we get our head clear with a brain dump, it's only going to stay clear if we have homes for the information, places to put the information that we've written down where we know that we will not lose it or forget it. We need to be able to trust that we will see that information when we need it. If we're unsure about whether or not what we need to know will come back in front of our eyes reliably, then our minds will try to take that job of holding on to information back. We'll be trying to continually track what's going on in our lives, and that brain dump will have been wasted effort. The key to letting it go so that our minds can do what they're good at, creative problem solving, is having a complete system that we can trust and do trust. But before we can trust the system has to have a place for everything. It has to be complete. Now that doesn't mean it's going to be some super thick binder that's a pain to carry around. A complete system has a calendar, an inbox, a task list, a place for notes, and a weekly overview. 5 things. We can do that. These 5 components make a complete system. And then there are 2 practices that make our planning system complete and trustworthy: clearing and reviewing. Clearing means putting away any gathered information, ideas, notes, dates, obligations, those things that come at us, in their right place in the system. You can allow it to gather in the inboxes, which might include just a post-it note on the top cover of your planner. But it can't stay there. You have to have a time set aside to go through those notes and put everything away so that it's all usable and not cluttered. Whatever the information is that has come at you through the week, invitations, shopping lists, receipts to enter into the budget, permission slips, bills to pay, you need to know where that stuff belongs so you don't lose it. And then you need to have regular times of going through those things so that you can stay on top of your responsibilities and nothing is lost or forgotten. Reviewing then is the second piece, and it means looking over your plans at appropriate times so that, again, nothing is forgotten. Reviewing means looking at your calendar so you know what's coming, looking at your task lists so that you know what you should be working on, looking at your routines so you know what to do next, and so on. If you wrote it down in your plans, it's going to need to be reviewed. Lists do you no good if you never look at them. If you gather your information and obligations directly into inboxes, process those inboxes regularly into appropriate homes, and then look at those 5 homes regularly, then you will have a trustworthy system. And then your mind can relax and do the next thing without vague guilt or worry. The second characteristic of a plan that works is a working plan manages expectations. Someone once said that expectation is the root of all heartache. What we expect our plans to do for us and how we expect them to affect our homes and our lives matters. How we are oriented to them, how we treat them, how we think about them will change how they work for us. Plans cannot control outcomes. God controls the future, and nothing that we do can wrest that control from his hands. We don't earn our desired outcome by trying hard enough or figuring out the right formula to pull the strings. Instead, planning is a way of stewarding our gifts, our situation, our resources, and present ourselves as an offering of service and thanksgiving to God. He then does what he sees fit with that work. And we trust that he's working it out for our good and his glory. Plans also don't change other people. I don't know how many times I have made a plan for our family's week and even our day, and then plowed into Monday assuming that everyone would just fall into line with my idea of how things ought to happen, without even me ever telling them about my brilliant new plan. That never worked out very well. Instead, our plans ought to remind us what we are supposed to be doing, and we should use those plans to direct ourselves without expecting everyone else around us to just fall in line with our plan. We need to worry about ourselves first and not what other people are doing. I tell it to my kids, but I need to hear it as well. Plans don't necessarily make the work easier either. The work is still the work. The mental load will be lighter, but plans are not magic. People are still people. Dirt is still dirt. The plan simply makes it clear what we ought to do, so we don't have to spin our wheels blankly staring at all the possibilities before us. But they don't make any of the problems go away. They just help us tackle them better. And they help us get straight to rolling up our sleeves and digging in. The third and final characteristic of a plan that works is that it is used. Digging in to that plan is exactly what we have to do after we have a complete system and a plan. Plans are only preliminary work. They're not the real work. And that doesn't mean that planning is unimportant or a waste of time, but it does mean that we can't sigh, sit back, and think that we've done the hard part once we have our lists and our planner in order. Having our stuff in order is only getting to the starting line with our running shoes on and our water bottle filled. Next comes the actual race. We're better equipped to run that race, but the race is still there to be run. So let's get started. Is a plan the next piece of organization that you need to have, or is there some other part of managing life that you need to get under control first? You can find the answer to that by taking my quiz. My Organization is a Snap quiz will ask you a few questions and let you know which part of organizing life you should tackle next, because we can't do it all at once. It's a fun quiz, and the results will give you customized links and helps and resources to help you get started managing life cheerfully. You can find that quiz at simplyconvivial.com/quiz. That's simplyconvivial.com/quiz, or you can find the link below.